AM 1230, 93.3 FM KTRF, and online at trfradio.com. Thursday morning, and Thursdays, of course, about 9:45, it's Mark Allen's Hometown Heroes. Each Thursday, we get a chance to visit with somebody from around the area, the communities, northwestern Minnesota, that has had an impact on our lives, others' lives, been busy, been around, been experienced. We find all kinds of walks of life. Today, we're going to visit with Dale Narlock, the electric superintendent here in Thief River Falls. Dale, good morning and welcome to Hometown Heroes.
Good morning, Mark.
Hometown Heroes, by the way, brought to you by our friends at Oakley Quilting Supply, Roxbury Truck Repair, and Marco. Dale, we got you in here because not only are you experienced, now you've been around a while, but you've seen a lot of things and a lot of changes here in Thief River Falls, right?
Oh, I've definitely seen a lot of changes. When I first came to Thief River, we were basically an overhead system, and then it got changed to an underground system. We went from voltages from 2,400 volts up to 7,240 volts, 12,470. So, yeah, there's a lot of changes.
A lot of changes. Yeah. Let's, for those who don't know Dale Narlock, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I was born and raised on a farm just west of Alvarado. My dad was Andrew and my mom was Celine. I was on the farm till 1976, and then I went to line school in Wadena from 1976 to 1977. Graduated from line school, and then I came to Thief River, and I've been in Thief River ever since.
What did you start out at here in Thief River Falls?
I was an apprentice line worker in Thief River Falls, and from that point on, I moved up from an apprentice to a journeyman line worker, then to a lead man, a foreman, and then the superintendent.
When did you become superintendent?
I was a superintendent about 20 years ago. Arla Rude was the director at the time, and when I was a foreman, then Arla was the director, then they changed the positions to electric superintendent under Arlo's administration.
Okay. I just actually have learned a little bit more about the line workers, and there's line schools. People there's more guys that I've heard of that are going to school for line work.
The demand for linemen right now is really high.
Okay.
And the schools are very popular. They got one in Baudette. They got one in Wadena. They've got one in southern Minnesota. They've also got one in Bismarck. So there is schools available for the kids in the area, and I've noticed a lot of kids in the area going to the schools.
Must be maybe some good money, because who wants to climb high on the poles?
Well, it's one of those jobs that people like the outdoors. You're out in the weather all the time. Not everybody is a person who wants to work in an office or a factory. So the abilities to work outside, working with the public, it's a good feeling.
At the same time, you guys work in some pretty terrible conditions a lot of times.
When the storms hit, we are one of the first ones out, yes.
Yeah, because when storms hits, obviously one of the things is that the electric goes out.
Yes.
And you guys have to find the problem. How tough is that to pinpoint it?
On an overhead system, it's not quite as bad. On an underground system, it's a lot worse because you cannot see it. It's not visible. I know when we've had outages in town, some of the outages are a couple hours long, but you might be going into about 20, 30 transformers, going through about 10, 12 blocks, and you got to test a cable from transformer to transformer, so it does take a little bit of time.
It's also dangerous.
All the fault currents are very high. The voltages are high. Clearances are close. There's been fatalities in the line crew, not in Thief River, but in the surrounding area, down by the cities, Elk River, and those other towns. There has been some incidences.
That's why you go through all the training.
There is a lot of training that we go to. We have monthly training that we do through JT&S, MMUA, and other organizations. We do training quite a bit.
How about like licensing for you guys? Is there a lot of licenses you have to hold, or a lot of either hours you have to put in to get those licenses?
Yeah, for the city of Thief River, when you first started back in the 70s, you put in 4 years, you would be a journeyman lineman. That's not the way it is anymore. Right now, what you got to do is go to a line school, get accredited line school, put your time in there, come out of line school. You'll work maybe 1,000 hours for a utility. Then you're lucky enough to get a job. You put in 4 years, and within the 4 years, you got a 4-year apprenticeship program. And then they have them through the unions or other entities that you can get them at. We have had a program with the League of Minnesota Cities and the state of Minnesota, and you have to have your hours and your time put in, and you have to complete all your tests and books.
Okay. We're going to find out a little bit more about Dale Narlock in just a few moments. Our Hometown Heroes this morning on KTRF brought you in part by Oakley Quilting Supply. For the rest of July here, they still have 25% off seasonal fabrics that include Christmas, Easter, Halloween, and fall. They also have 25% off all quilt kits. Oakley Quilting Supply carries many quilting lines that include Henry Glass, Quilting Treasures, and many more. And they're adding new fabrics all the time, too. So stop in on Main Street in Oakley and see all that they have to offer. Oakley Quilting Supply for all your quilting needs. Call up and find out more. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 9 to noon. Roxbury Truck Repair, of course, your truck shop, truck and trailer, maintenance and repair. It's Roxbury Truck Repair of Thief River Falls. And Marco Communication Tools, copiers, IT services, and maintenance. Check them out for more information, marconet.com. Our hometown hero today is Dale Narlock from Thief River Falls. If you're just joining us again, how many years with Thief River Falls?
A little over 40 years right now.
Isn't it tough? I don't know that you see people stay with one organization that long anymore, do you?
Well, there's so many changes, and the demands are so much there, and the opportunities are all over the area. So a lot of people come to Thief River Falls, get their license, learn the systems, learn how to do it safely. When we do our training is very comparable to a lot of other communities and bigger entities. So, yeah, the line worker is somebody that they're looking for all over the state.
Okay. Is a line worker's job going to be changing? Because, you talked about the overhead for so long, and a lot of it's going underground. So now instead of a lineman, is it going to be a groundman?
No, they're all linemen. We're all journeyman linemen.
Okay.
The groundman is a person who's just starting out. He's kind of like the apprentice. First 4 years, he's a groundman. But once you become certified in a line worker, you are overhead and underground, and you're experienced in both.
Okay. Are we going to see more of the lines being buried as the years go by, or are we always going to see them up above?
Well, the big push is to put a lot of the lines underground. You see a lot of the REAs that are getting federal monies to put lines underground because of the storms and the ice and the wind and everything else. So they've received some dollars to go underground. We started our underground in the early 70s, and our system is about 90 to 95% completed already.
All right. What's your favorite part about being with the electric company?
Working for the public.
So dealing with the public, you like that.
I like
and not a
working-
lot of people do they?
Well, it's not always easy. I mean, there's good and bad, but 90% of the people in this community have been really, really good to work with. It's a welcoming community. You've got good business people, a lot of good common sense. It's been fun.
And what is over all the years, and it's a number of years, but what's the best part of the job? Other than public, I mean, is there 1 year you can look back and say this was the best year, or this was the best thing that ever happened to me in this job?
Yeah, I can honestly say that. In '97, when we had the big storms, when the power went out, it was black in town here for several days, and we were feeding the town through the power plant, and we were looping the system. And not everybody had power, but we were bringing on as much as we could and as long as we could. And when the lights came on that day, when we got all our power from Minn Kota, you stood back and you looked and said, we've accomplished something. And that was an accomplishment.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember that very well. We were on our backup generator for, I think, 3 full days.
At least 3 days, yes.
Yeah. And all over the town, it was jumping all over the place. It was pretty cool. It's got to be one of your best and biggest memories, I'm guessing.
It is.
Hopefully
definitely.
we never have something like that again.
Oh, I hope not. I mean, things have changed since then. We've gotten several different feeds coming into Thief River Falls from different directions. We can lose a feed from the west and pick it up from the east or the north. So Thief River is protected pretty well.
All right. And finally, Dale, if there was a youngster out there, a young man or a young lady who would like to get into the business that you talk about with electric, what's the best way? How do you encourage them? What do they do?
One of the best ways, if you're seriously interested in it, talk to a utility, talk to a superintendent, get some information, find out what the job is all about. And once you figure out what the job is, if it's suited for you, which it is for a lot of people, then find a good school. They're all good. What's closest to your area is a good resource. I would look at the Baudette. I would look at Wadena. I would look at the Dakota schools. They're good teachers, good instructors. Find out what their ratio is as far as getting jobs. thing is, you got to put the effort in.
Yeah. Folks, when the electricity is on, thank a lineman and thank Dale Narlock as well. Dale, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the time.
All right. Dale Narlock, electric superintendent here in Thief River Falls on today's Hometown Heroes. Brought to you today by Oakley Quilting, Roxbury Truck Repair, and Marco. Join us again next Thursday and each Thursday for Hometown Heroes from KTRF Radio.